How's it going, fam? It's Erica with Not Your Average GDC. How's it going? How's your morning? How's life? Let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing about how you guys are doing. Today, we are going to talk about the Benchmade Redoubt. First impressions. After using it for a couple days here, I'm going to obviously still use it, but I just want to tell you guys what I think so far about this because a lot of you were curious. Obviously, this is not a review, not even close to it. It's literally just first impressions because my reviews are only done after 1 month minimum of consecutive testing for my folders. So, first impressions after using this. This is kind of cool. This is definitely a kind of cool knife. So, quick little backstory. Jared Neves had this first. He did some testing with it, and I would figure he probably has some sort of review. He did use this up against my MagnaCut Hogue Deca to test the coating. The coating on mine started to come off during his testing, so he used this to see if the same thing would happen with the same test, and it did. I'm wondering if the lighting is too bright, but hopefully you can see that the coating on the tip of this came off with the same testing that my MagnaCut Deca went through. He was just testing some coating stuff. So he put a fresh edge on it and then sent it over to me as a gift, as a thank you for lending him my MagnaCut Deca. And yeah, I was really excited about it because I've been wanting to check this out, but obviously for financial reasons, I haven't been purchasing knives. So I was really excited that he sent this over as a surprise gift. Now, right out of the box, I noticed it's massive. This is a very large knife. I have a few size comparisons here that we'll just look at real quick. So here's the Readout next to the Benchmade 940, which I have stated numerous times on my channel. This is as long as I can go comfortably with a knife. The 940 for me is like the perfect length, but a hair over is too long. And the only reason it carries so well for me, I think, is because of how slim it is. So it's a very long knife, but it's very sleek. So it's super easy for me to carry and fits very well in my hand. So here's the 940. And then here's, the Readout, okay? So pretty long, because the 940 is a long knife. Let's line them up like this real quick. So you can see the Readout is just a hair longer. But unfortunately it carries very large because it's just, in my opinion, kind of oddly shaped, right? So we have this big, heavy, beefy blade. We kind of thin out here a little bit, which feels nice, and then we have this big bootylicious booty on there. So it just carries very large, and it feels like a large knife. Like if I choke up on this knife with my small girl hands, but medium-sized otherwise hands, I have a lot of real estate kind of hanging off the back there. And yes, I can kind of space my hands out and make it look like it fits better, but I wouldn't actually be cutting like this. So, first impressions of the design. It's okay. I think Benchmade has a habit of just being okay sometimes, you know? For me, the Bug Out was their last, like, home fucking run. I think the Bug Out is perfect. I think it's perfect, and it's one of my favorite knives. For me, it ranks very high in my collection, and I think that they outdid themselves really on the Bug Out. So this is kind of like the standard that I hold my Benchmades to. And the Readout is cool, but it's just like, I feel like it's trying to combine two different worlds, and at least for me, it doesn't quite line up. It's okay, but it's just like, meh. I'm not super pumped about it. So, here's kind of how my mind works. When you take a massive, heavy blade like that, and throw it on plastic scales, it immediately just kind of feels a little off balance, a little lopsided. I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool that, you know, the blade like falls shut so easily without it even really being broken in because the blade is so heavy and it just like, yeah, that's cool. But it just feels like two different realms to me. It feels like super hard use and then like chintzy plastic, right? Like at least with the bug out, it feels correct and balanced because you have a really nice, properly sized blade and blade stock on a nice thin ergonomic handle. And yes, this feels like super, it just feels like it all kind of flows. And with the Readout, I just don't feel that. I don't feel the flow. I feel heavy use, hardcore, new version of Griptilian blade on like almost an even worse body than the Griptilian and plastic. So it just doesn't line up for me. What I do like about the plastic scales is the grip. I think it's ugly. I think this thing is fucking ugly. I'll say that. I think it just aesthetically is not pleasing to me. This looks like a toy to me. It looks like a knife toy that you would buy from your for your 12-year-old son at like Target to go play War in the Woods, you know, like it just with like a pretend spatula and a pretend camp set. It just doesn't look good to me. I feel like the pocket clip just doesn't do it for me. It doesn't anyway because this is tightened all the way down, but it wiggles around. It's like not fitted very well, and whatever they were trying to do with this is just like kind of ridiculous to me. If you'll excuse me, I just need to throw my son's Chucky. So yeah, it just kind of feels off. And it's huge. And I just don't quite understand why they made the butt end so ugly. Like if they had kind of, in my opinion, continued it kind of like straight and cut all that extra material off, and then did like a square butt like the bug out and cut all of that extra material off, I think it would have been way better. I really like what they did with the bug out in terms of just not giving you more real estate than you need. And I feel like the squarish butt just looks a little more pleasing to me. I really don't like that round back end on a knife. This just looks and feels much better to me. In use, it has been great. I very much like this blade. I really like the blade shape. I really like the stock thickness that they went with and how they kind of like ground this, and it has a nice little swedge. Basically, if we cut off the handle, I love the actual blade. I freaking love it. That is cool. And even though this is too big for me, I'm willing to try to work with it because the actual useful part of this knife, the blade, seems very pleasing to me so far. I was cutting apples up from the orchard this morning for my dogs, and I thought it would more or less split them apart, but it actually cut them very well. It has a lot of distance here to thin out and actually be very thin behind the edge for the size of the knife, but still super tough because it's CPM D2, which we have seen. What's his tag name? His name's Josh. PM2OG or something on Instagram. You guys know who I'm talking about. He like will drive these things through bricks and like smash them into steel cans and cut like crazy hardcore like wires and stuff with them in his driveway. He just beats the shit out of his knives. And especially this one, he did a lot of good content on. So we know that this blade steel is great, and it's performing great for me too. So I'm willing to work with it and try it because I want to see how just the knife itself performs. And I wouldn't be putting my effort into this if there were not aftermarket scales already available for it. And I know that there are because they're on the way to me right now, because Applied Weapons Tech, as soon as this hit the market, started working on scales that actually make sense for this thing, so we will be able to build this correctly. Kind of a bummer that you have to spend extra money on scales that will be better for this, but that's how Benchmade works. So, yeah, great edge retention so far for me. I really like the blade shape. I really like the thickness. The coating seems decent. Like I said, the action is great, and I do appreciate that it, you know, opening opens and closes so easily, but the handles, man, just are totally a killer for me. And you guys know I love plastic handles. Like, don't get me wrong. I love FRN handles over anything. Cheap plastic, cheap feeling shit, I love it. But it has to kind of like line up for me, and when you put like a crazy hard use blade on like a, you know, toy handle, it just kind of feels awkward. And it's just too, in this configuration, it's just like too big for me to comfortably open and close. Like for me, because my hands are so small, I just have to like, I have to make sure my hands are proportioned in a very particular manner to open and close this properly, because it's just too big to maneuver for me. But in seeing the Applied Weapons Tech scales that they have redone for this, they're very much squared, like the bug out scale, so I know that I'll be able to work it better in my hands. And they have like the arching milling and contours and stuff. It just like they look way better, and I can already tell that they're going to work way better for me, so I'm excited to get those. He's sending them out today to me, so I'll just instantly swap it and see how that works with appropriate scales. Yeah, so it has potential, guys. It really does. I just feel like Benchmade, like, they just are redundant to me. Like, this is literally the Griptilian 2. In essence, it kind of has like a bug out shaped blade, but on a beefier build and body, much like the Griptilian. I mean, I have a mini grip here, and you can kind of tell it's rounded, it's overbuilt, it's beefy. If I had the full size Griptilian, it would be a much better comparison, but it's literally a beefy bug out blade, which is very nice, on a very outdated, rounded plastic handle like the Griptilian. And I just wish that they would continue making better stuff like the bug out, because this just instantly, for me, has to be worked on, and I wish that wasn't the case. And it's the same thing with the tagged out that just came out at the same time as this. That is not the Benchmade tagged out, that is the Benchmade Crooked River Light. It is the Crooked River, the Bowie-shaped Crooked River hunting folding knife with the contoured handle that kind of bends like the Crooked River, and it's thinner and lighter and made out of plastic, and it is a literal folding hunting knife that is the Crooked River in a lightweight version. So I just wish that they would like make more sense of things instead of trying to make 25 new models per year that in essence are all very similar, and then making it difficult to like change things around because you put a new stupid pocket clip style on here. Like you know that nobody's gonna like this, so why not just do your normal milling so that we can actually put good clips on here? You know what I'm saying? Like Applied Weapons Tech, the scales that they are making for these right now have the milling for the normal pocket clip. And for this clip, it actually is all there. So if you, for some reason, want to use this piece of shit, you can. But if you want to go actually put a clip on that works better, like the original Benchmade clip, which is freaking fantastic, if you want to put this on to this knife, Applied Weapons Tech has milled those two screw holes in there so you can just build the knife correctly. So yeah, first impressions, good, just not great. It's not giving me the fizz like these knives do, but it has potential so far, and I am excited to put the new scales on it and actually continue using it and see how the ergonomics kind of change for me, because I'm telling you right now, the blade just being so heavy, it just in my hand feels like I have to pay way more attention to opening and closing it than I should, just because it's kind of oversized for me and that blade just really drops. I just, like, for me, I have to make sure I have a really good grip on there. I have to be cautious of opening and closing it, because it's just like, for me, if I pull this back and I am not paying attention or anything, that heavy blade is going to just, like, you know, cut the tip of my finger off or something stupid if I'm not paying attention. And I feel like with knives that are easier to maneuver in hand for me, I don't have to worry about that as much. When I'm confident and comfortable with opening and closing a knife like this, it just doesn't, I don't have to be aware of like, okay, get a grip on it, Erica, now disengage the lock. I'm not as afraid of these ones that actually fit my hands as this one that just feels like it's, this blade dropping could really do some damage to me, at least if I wasn't paying attention, because the scales are too big and I have to be aware of opening and closing it. But it definitely has potential. Like I said, those scales that are being sent out to me today look incredible. I'm so excited to have it just feel a little more blended, you know? The scales are aluminum, as far as I know, or titanium. Well, I don't know. He said, do you want blue or black titanium? But I could have sworn they were aluminum. I don't fucking know. Either way, the harder, more rugged scales are going to make this feel like it flows much better for me. So I'm really excited about that. But see, I almost just did it right now. I went to go turn this thing around in my hand, and it started to drop because the blade is heavy, and I literally just nicked my finger right here on this choil because I'm being stupid and I'm not paying attention. The blade is performing really, really well, though. That's kind of what matters here, is the blade is performing very well, and that's super exciting for me. I'm gonna stop messing around with this because I'm gonna cut myself. Yeah, so that's what I have for you guys today, is the first look at, sorry, I'm trying to find his binky here. Get it? That's the first look at the Benchmade Readout. I will continue using it and keep you guys updated on how that's going. Thank you for getting that. Like I said, if anyone has any comments on anything, you know, leave it down in the comments. Let me know what you think of this knife so far. I'm very curious to try the tagged out. I really want to try that, because I have a mini Crooked River that I've been using and testing and stuff, and I've made videos on, and I really like that. And that is literally the, you know, Crooked River Light. So I'd love to kind of try that out. And that knife also has their, what they're calling like select edge, 17 degree per side. They're making it sound all fancy. It's just a thin, slicey hunting knife is really what it is, but they're making it sound like very, very science-y. The 17 degrees per edge is a select edge. Yeah, so I do wanna try that and see which one I end up liking more, the mini Crooked River or the tagged out. So hopefully at some point I'll get to try one of those. But yeah, let me know what you think about this so far down in the comments. I will see you guys on the next video. Go use your shit. I love you all, and I will see you soon. Romy did not interrupt us all today. I wonder. Hey Google, do you want to say goodbye? Romies, say goodbye. Nugget wants to say goodbye. Say goodbye, old Nugget. Say go use your shit. See you guys later.